I would describe Jenny as being very outgoing, very loving, and very passionate.
We're actually best friends for 3 years before we ever went on our first date. And we went on our first date and it was happily ever after. Brad and I waited to have children for going on 7 years. When I found out I was pregnant, I was shocked and amazed and grateful.
She told me she was pregnant on Monday, and I didn't get back to town until Friday, so that was a very long week.
My delivery was very beautiful. Colby had to go straight to the NICU after he was born because his oxygen levels were low. And since he was on the ventilator, we weren't able to hold him for 5 days. That was the most excruciating, stressful time of our lives.
We didn't know that it would be an extended NICU stay at that point, and then obviously we did not know what was about to happen with her at all. The symptoms that Jenny had that we started to notice right after she gave birth was the fluid that had built up was not leaving like it's supposed to naturally. She was having extreme trouble breathing.
Even though I knew that my symptoms were getting worse, I wasn't concerned about what was going on with me. My complete concern was with Colby. On the way back to the apartment, I called my mom to talk to her about kind of how I was feeling. Told her I was having a little trouble breathing and a little chest pain, but I assured her that it was just from lack of sleep.
I just felt in my heart that something wasn't just quite right with the situation. And as stubborn as she is, I said, "You're gonna go back to the hospital right now." We argued about that just a few minutes, but I knew in my heart. So I called her doctor. So the doctor called her and told her she had 10 minutes to get to the hospital.
Peripartum cardiomyopathy is a weakened heart muscle in a woman at the end of pregnancy or in a couple of weeks just after delivery. You could tell even before running any tests that she had heart failure. She had all the classic findings from swelling in the legs and crackles in the lungs.
The first time I saw Jennifer, she was sitting in a chair straight up and she couldn't breathe. So I just sat on the bed and, held her hand and watched about 15 pounds of fluid come off of her in about 6 hours.
Being a new father and a husband with my son in the NICU and my wife in the hospital, it was surreal. I was afraid to sleep there for a few nights. That's the biggest fear in my life, was that I was going to wake up one day and she wasn't going to be breathing anymore.
It's very hard because you want to take a hurt away from your child, and you would want to bear that for them.
My doctor told me I wasn't going to be able to have any more children. My heart broke. It was like I heard everybody talking, but my entire world just kind of stood still for a second.
So Jenny's one of the lucky ones whose heart came back to completely normal function and has been there now for a couple of years.
Colby and I were both released on the same day, the day before Thanksgiving. We were just thankful to survive.
Lifestyle changes are key, especially in heart failure. So I think that was a key part of Jenny's change.
I go to my cardiologist, and every year I ask him if I can have a baby. My hope is that the American Heart Association is going to have a research study done that finds why this happens and how we can prevent it. So I get the opportunity to have a baby again. And women stop dying from this condition.
It was so important to Jennifer because she wanted to be part of the solution.
I'm teaming up with my workplace and in the American Heart Association. We're going to be holding a class for the nurses that work on that unit to recognize the signs and symptoms of heart failure.
As Jenny's husband, I'm extremely proud of the work she's doing to educate people.
The research from the American Heart Association gives us great hope. The hope that we'll be able to find a cure for what happened to her for other mothers in the future.
How has the American Heart Association impacted my life? Through its research, I was able to get diagnosed and treated. Through the education on the website, I've made a heart-healthy lifestyle change, and it's allowed me to see my son grow up and play every day.
I would like to say to those who work with the American Heart Association, thank you. Thank you for doing what you do. Thank you for literally saving my wife's life.